All right, we are live. Suzanne, take it away.
You betcha. Thank you, Jefferson. And again, thank you for your long history with us and everything that you continue to help us with, because we do appreciate every one of you that are on the call. And what your experience and your company's experience on our show is extremely important to us. So we want to make sure um, that you have a successful show because that means that we have a successful show. So there is a lot that we're doing this year to make sure that you do have a good experience on our end. There's a lot of activities that are done to drive traffic into the exhibit hall. We are having a CE stage that some of your companies are able to participate in and have been chosen to give 1 hour CE credits on Thursday and Friday on our new CE stage. We also have our poster sessions, formerly known as table clinics, that our attendees can come in on Friday during the lunch and participate in those CE sessions with dental students, dental residents, and hygiene students from across the state to receive CE. We have free lunch for all of our attendees and you in the exhibit hall on Thursday and Friday. And then we're also going in to this is an excellent opportunity for me to tell you that not only do we have the lunch on Friday, Thursday and Friday, but we only have a 2-day hall this year. And those Thursday morning extended hours are 9 to 6. Friday is 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then we will shut down the hall. We'll continue to have CE classes on Saturday and continue to have great social events on Friday evening, but the hall will close at 4 o'clock on Friday. So some other events that we have are our Shop More and More Chances to Win that we've done, where you can certainly encourage anyone purchasing anything in your hall or in your booth can play the game and enter for chances to win. And we give a $500 Visa card each day to a lucky winner. Our Hops and Shops event is very popular on Thursday evening, and that's exactly what it is. It's some beer and bites and good shopping from 4:30 to 6. It's also important to note on Thursday, where the exhibit hall closes at 6, we do a soft close. And we heard this is from a lot of you exhibitors that are told us and our attendees. If you're on the floor finishing a sale, asking questions, we're not going to turn the lights off on you. We're going to give at least another 30 minutes. We'll walk around, make sure your business is done. We just don't allow more people into the hall after 6 p.m. On Friday, we're also at lunchtime doing a fashion show with both fashions and dental or scrubs and um, office uniforms, and they're going to be modeled by members of the dental community here in Ohio. And then to round us off, we're going to finish with um, more opportunities in the hall and get added to each day. So with that, Jefferson, I'll let you kind of finish up.
All right. Thank you, Suzanne, and thanks everyone that has joined us for today. Suzanne, I know I and all the exhibitors appreciate everything you and Amy and the board and the team do to continually evolve the meeting, to serve really both audiences, the exhibiting community and the dental professionals. So I'm excited to be here again with everybody for this webinar. Everybody wins when somebody exhibits well. And we're going to talk today about how to really improve both the attraction and the engagement power of your booth, because that's really what it's all about, right? Attracting enough of the right people and having a meaningful engagement, whether it's a customer and you're adding value to the relationship, whether it is a prospect that is in your sales pipeline and you're moving them one step closer, or whether it's a brand new opportunity, right? And so my background, I've been around this, I hate to admit, 35 years now. If there's one thing I know to be true, is that if you see and you execute trade shows properly, what you can get can blow your mind, right? I've seen companies turn their whole business directions in one well-executed show. And that's what we've been talking about over the years with all the stuff I've been doing with ODA, with Success and ROI Center, which I'll show you in a moment. We're going to do everything that we can do, right? ODA. So here's what I want to talk about. Okay, Suzanne mentioned 6 things they're doing to drive more traffic in the hall. I want to add 2 more. And I want to make this point real clear, right? That ODA is going to do everything they can do. They're going to turn over every leaf. They're going to spend every dollar they can find to drive dental professionals to Columbus, into the convention center, and into the exhibit hall. But that's where the responsibility shifts. That's where it becomes your job as an exhibitor to create an exhibit and a visitor experience that is worthy of the attendees' time, right? Because the attendees have overchoice of where to focus their time and attention while they're at a show. You know, they could go to the sessions, CE sessions. They could hang out with their colleagues and network, you know, and they have overchoice. And so it's really important, okay, that as an exhibiting community, that we put in more effort to make that exhibit hall such a mind-blowing experience that not only the dental professionals want to spend more time in the hall, right? And they get more value from their time in the hall. But when they leave the annual session and they go back, they tell all of their colleagues, you know, have you been to you got to go to that show. It is amazing. And we need your help on that, right? Because at the end of the day, all of you, every one of you exhibitors are a stakeholder in this event, right? And we need you to show up, and we need you to put together an exhibit that is just draws people and engages them, right? So two additional things that we're doing. So the scavenger hunt, the attendees will be using the annual session app, and around the hall and there are QR codes placed around. So they're going to be, it's like a Where's Waldo type thing. They're going around looking for these QR codes. Okay. And this year, for the first time, we're launching an exhibitor best of show contest, right? Because we want to get all of you focused, motivated, excited about showing up and showing out and competing, right? To win. And I'll talk about what you'll win in a moment. So the attendees also are going to be able to vote on this best of show contest through the mobile app. Okay, now let's talk about that best of show contest. Okay, there's 5 winners, and it's going to be by very distinct categories. So we're going to select a best overall booth. What booth out of all the booths in the show hit the high notes, right? And then we're going to be looking for visual communication, visual storytelling in the booth. And we're going to give an award for best visual communicator. We're going to look for the best interactive experience, meaning something for the dental professional to do in your booth. And we're going to give an award for that. And we're going to give an award for best booth staff. Who is looking and acting like they really want to be there? Who is smiling and engaging attendees? Who is maybe even through their apparel and their dress, right, is standing out, right? So we're going to give an award for best booth staff, and we're going to give the Dental Professionals Choice Award. Okay, so I'm going to be there. I have evaluated over 45,000 booths. I've done dozens of best of show contests for shows of all types, and the attendees are going to vote on who they think is the best overall booth. Okay, so this is your chance to really get recognition, right? Get bragging rights, right? Be able to go back to your boss and your team with your trophy and go, hey, look at this, right? Woo, that's us. We did it, right? So I'm calling every single exhibitor to action, whether you're on this webinar live or whether you're watching it in a replay mode, to watch the rest of this content and take your current exhibit that you're planning to bring, and I want you to hold it up against these 6 elements, and I want you to find just a few things that you can change to make it better. Because if there's anything I've learned in over 30 years in this business is that sometimes one or two little shifts, one or two little changes can take a good booth to great, can take a great booth to outstanding, and can take an outstanding booth to what? Best of show, right? So I want you to bring your A game, bring your energy, bring your excitement. See, because the reality is that a trade show works best. I've been working over the years, I've worked with over 300 different show organizations in every industry you can imagine, right? And I've noticed that some shows do better than others, even during the downtimes. And I've asked myself, what is the difference between the shows that do well at any business cycle and those that struggle? And it comes down to what I call the trade show partnership pyramid. So think about like a pyramid or a triangle. Okay. So here it is. A trade show works best when the show producer, Ohio Dental Association, and the supply side of the dental industry, exhibitors, you, work together in a spirit of harmony to sense and serve the needs of the dental community. Show producer, supply side exhibitors, attendees, dental professionals. So I encourage you to see your relationship with ODA as a partnership, right? As a way to serve the industry, to grow your business, right? And get tremendous value from the time and the money that you invest in the meeting, okay? So trade show partnership pyramid. It's us working together to sense and serve the needs of the dental community. The more we do that, the more dentists are going to come to the show, hygienists, assistants, office managers, the more they're going to tell others. Everybody wins. Everybody wins when somebody exhibits well, right? Okay. All right. So one of the things I talked about, ODA doesn't just rent you concrete. The Exhibitor Success and ROI Center. This, I like to call this your one-page MBA. It's a one-page MBA in exhibiting. There's over $10,000 of content there. It takes you step by step how to create an exhibit program that delivers serious value and results. Okay. There's a lot of content up there. So we have downloadable tools. In step one, you get control of your program by downloading and using 3 tools. In step 2, we've got these quick planning exercises. And this is the strategic side of exhibiting. This is not the logistical operational side. This is the strategic side of it. 5 timed exercises. They're PDFs. Download them, do them one at a time, gather your team, and put in the work, right? Webinars. We've got a bunch of webinars up there on various topics like this. We're going to record this and put it up there. We've got articles broken down by category. And at any time during your journey, you've got questions, you want feedback, you want to bounce ideas. You have access to me and my team through the Ask the Trade Show Expert Q&A. You click a button, drop me an email, I respond quick, right? So here's a big takeaway here. Bookmark this, download the tools, download the exercises, put them to work, right? They're not going to work if they sit in your files, right? Watch the webinars, read the articles, ask for help. If you'll do that, you will end up in the top 10% of exhibitors, not only at this show, but at every show you do. And that's what we want for you. And it's all free. It's all part of your exhibit package. All right, so let's jump in. Oh, by the way, a quick announcement. We got one more pre-show webinar. So I want you to mark your calendar for Monday, August 17th from 2 to 3 p.m. The subject matter is going to be how to win the show before the doors open. Win it before the doors open. So I encourage you to register for that, okay? And show up, because it's going to be one thing to create an effective booth and a demo and have a great booth staff. And it's going to be another thing to get in the mind and on the agenda of the right people before the show doors ever open up. That's how you win the game before kickoff, literally, right? Okay. All right, so let's jump into content here. We've got a little bit of ground to cover. So I think it's important for us as suppliers, as partners of ODA, to take a step back, take a step out of our role as marketers and sellers, right? And step into the mind of the attendee. So the question is, every year, these dental professionals take time away from their practice to come to the ODA annual session. So the question is, why do they do that, right? They could just stay back at the practice and not come, but they come. Why do they come? What are they trying to accomplish? What do they want to gain? Okay, let's talk about the 5 big reasons why they come. Number 1, drum roll. They come to learn. Every year, CE sessions. And in the exhibit hall, with and through you. The thing I want to drill into everybody's mind is that every one of you are subject matter experts on your products and your services. So I want you to think in terms of what situations are your customers grappling with that if they were to give you 5 or 6 minutes at your booth, you could teach them something that would help them. If you add a learning component to your exhibit experience, you're going to get more traffic. Why? It's the number 1 reason they come to the show. Okay, so they come to learn. Number 2, they come to network, come to rub elbows, network with their colleagues, right? With vendors, suppliers, right? So take advantage of networking opportunities around the show. Hold breakfast meetings in the morning. Hold, like get-togethers in the evening. Now keep an eye on the show schedule, and you don't want to get on top of any official show events, but use the golden hours and the entertaining hours in the evening to network. And, if you have space in your booth, a big trend I'm seeing on show floors all across America is peer-to-peer space in booths now. We're seeing more of that, right? Where they come and they gather and they talk. Now, imagine if you could put one of your best customers that absolutely loves your company, loves your products. Imagine if you could put them in a networking event with a prospective new customer. How valuable would that be? That'd be priceless, right? They're coming for career enhancement, career development, right? To learn how to do their craft better, to improve their job performance, to do better patient care, better practice management. So they're coming for that. Number 4, every business has problems, challenges, frustrations. So they're coming to find ideas, answers, and solutions to their practice and patient management challenges, right? And they're looking for ways to do things better, faster, cheaper, safer, greener, right? More productive, right? So they're coming for that, okay? And number 5, they're coming to have fun. So I want you to pause for a moment and think about these 5 reasons why dental professionals attend. And here's the big idea. The more of these reasons you can address through your exhibit and your event experience, the more engagement, the more traffic, the more impact you're going to have. So try to address as many of these reasons as you possibly can, because not only is it going to help you win, but it's going to help the dental professionals get more value from their time at the event and in the exhibit hall. Okay. All right. Now let's talk about exhibits. Okay. I came to the show last year. I visited 25 booths. I walked the whole show floor very slowly. I took in the show. I'm on 40 show floors a year. I've been doing this since 1991. And I felt like I told Suzanne and Amy, I said, we've got to get more energy in this exhibit hall. We've got to energize this exhibit hall. Okay. So there are 4 types of booths. Okay. So I want you to look on a screen that we call it the attraction and engagement matrix. And if you can understand where your exhibit falls on this spectrum, and you can begin to diagnose what are the factors that are limiting your attraction and your engagement, and make adjustments. You know, you don't have to change everything. Sometimes, again, just changing one or two things will make all the difference. So when you look at the bottom, we have low attraction booths, okay? The bottom. A low performing booth would be a booth that is not getting much traffic and not getting much engagement. You don't want to be that booth. You don't have to be that booth. Only by choice. Only by choice. And then on the left, you have a captive booth where it doesn't get a lot of traffic, but the visitor dwell time in the booth is high. They spend more time in the booth. That's typically the case when a company is marketing primarily to their existing customers. They're using the show primarily for customer relationship management. They'll tend to do more outreach. They'll tend to have more confirmed appointments and meetings. The interactions will be longer in the booth. Okay, so that's what we would call a captive booth. Okay, then on the top of the spectrum here, you have the attractive booth. This is something's going on in that booth that is creating attraction. It might be something as simple as food and beverage. It might be some form of a fun game. It might be a contest to win this or that. And it draws traffic, but it doesn't have deep engagement. They're not really learning. They're not deeply engaging. It's an attractive booth, right? But the engagement factor is low. And what we're all shooting for is in the top right of the matrix, the high performing booth. The high performing booth gets both high traffic and high visitor engagement. Every single exhibitor, that is the target that you should be shooting for right there. High traffic, high engagement. Okay. So it's important as I go through the rest of this webinar, I'm going to talk about 6 things that make a booth great, that increase both the attraction and the engagement power of the booth. Here's what I want you to do as I go through. I want you to ask how well are we addressing this factor? 1, and what can we change? What can we do differently? What can we add? What can we stop doing, right? That's going to increase any one or combination of these factors. So let's jump in. You want to start by thinking about your customer and analyzing your products and your services. What you've got to find is your hook, your reason why, your value proposition, something that is going to cut through the noise and grab the attention of your visitor, create interest for them to pause and engage, and ultimately desire to make a change, which leads to action. Okay, so for trade shows, how to cut through the noise. New. If I were to stop at the door, right at the door, and ask 100 dental professionals walking into the hall, why do you attend the exhibit hall? On average, 9 out of 10 would tell me to see what and who is new. So if you have something new or something new about your product or service, shout it from the top of the mountain, right? Key phrase, new is a magnet at a trade show. New is a magnet, okay? Second, in the B2B world, which is what we're in, problematic. I said earlier, every practice is struggling with different sets of problems. The clearer you understand what those problems are and how you relate and how you can help them solve, the more you can integrate problematic type imagery, copy, messaging into your exhibit, your communications, and everything, right? And people are always, the radar is always open to anything that is going to help me or you solve a known problem or frustration. And number 3, I mentioned before, learn. They come to learn, okay? So those are your 3 big things that cut through the noise and help you grab more attention. When you create interest, here's what I want you to do. This is your first part assignment. Actually, it's your second. Your first assignment was the Success and ROI Center. Bookmark it, share it, visit it, download, use it, visit often. Second is I want you to get your team together, your product manager, your sales team, and ask them one big question. What situations are taking place in the dental practice that would prompt them to think about what you do? Situations that would create interest or need. Okay? And keep writing and try to narrow it down to the situations that are most pressing and most proximate and most common. Pressing, proximate, and common. Once you find your situations, you're going to integrate those situations into your pre-marketing, your at-show marketing, your exhibit graphics, your exhibitor description listing, your presentation, your demonstrations, situations. Okay. Then the next thing is I'm going to give you a series of questions to help you find your value proposition. Okay. Number one, okay, what are you going to feature in the booth? If you have a lot of stuff, don't try to be everything to everybody. You'll end up being nothing to nobody. At a trade show, less is more. If you have a lot of different product services, what do you bring? What do you feature? Here's the hierarchy. Lead with new. Follow up. Second, anything that is addressing a top of the mind hot button issue in the industry. 2, your bread and butter products. 3, new, hot button, top of the mind challenge, bread and butter. Leave everything else at home. Okay. Problems. Remember, the human brain is wired. We are all aware of the challenges we face. Anything that comes in our purview, visually, auditorily, right? It's almost impossible not to notice it. Opportunities. Maybe it's not a problem. Maybe there's something they can be doing better in their practice that would help them reduce the time to treat the patient, increase the dollar amount of the transaction, make the patient happier so they get better reviews, delight the patient so they refer people to the practice, right, to the clinic. Okay, so think in terms of opportunities also. How can you help them deliver better service, right? Patient care, right? Can you save them time? Can you save them money? Can you help them improve the process? Think about the patient journey through the dental clinic, from the appointment setting to walking into the waiting room, to checking in, to being taken into the operatory, to being treated, to being exited, right? The whole process, right? Maybe there's something you do that improves that process. Okay. Safety, always important. Patient and practitioner safety. And is there anything that you do that helps them increase their revenue or increase the profitability of their practices? These questions will force you to stand outside of your products and services and look at it through the eyes of a customer, and you'll find your hook. You'll find your value proposition. Okay, there's 2 messages in business that every business must be able to know and answer. Number 1, why at all? The value proposition. Number 2, why you? The unique selling proposition. Those are the 2 major marketing messages that every company has to nail. Why at all? Why us? Value proposition, unique selling proposition. So important to spend time, because when you nail both of those, not only will you have the ability to grab attention and build the need, but you'll also be able to differentiate your company product services from the competition. That is the 1-2 punch in business marketing communications. All right, let's talk about your booth. So that's your 3rd assignment, by the way. Gather your team, ask what situations would create interest or need, work through the questions. You'll come up with so much content, right? And it's going to serve you way beyond just your trade show program. So let's talk about your booth, right? I am headed out tomorrow morning to New Orleans. This will be about my 450th when I start tomorrow in New Orleans. I've already done 450 myself. I've stood in front of 450 booths with my iPad and doing a 21-point evaluation. We've done 45,000 evaluations since we first started doing this program. We've seen it all, right? And yet we still see new stuff, right? So the evaluation process is complex. It's 21 questions. But I'm always thinking, how can I simplify this and give it to you in a narrative that is sticky and has transport, meaning you get it quick and you have the ability, like you could tell anybody this, right? So I'm going to give it to you. I think I've cracked the code. I call it a great booth in 6 words, okay? If your booth does these 6 things, you're going to have high attraction and high engagement. If your booth misses on any one of these 6, it's going to limit your traffic and your engagement. So here we go. What are the 6 things? Job 1 in red, force them to look. If they don't look, they're not stopping. And here's the thing. Do you think they actually look at every booth they pass? They don't, for a million reasons. They're looking at their cell phone, they're talking to a colleague, and the booth just doesn't grab their attention. Job 1, force them to look, okay? As soon as they look, if they look, their brain is going to fire 2 big questions. And your booth has to quickly and visually answer these questions in their mind. Quickly and visually answer. What do you do? Why should I care? Okay? It's how the brain works when we're on the show floor. Look, what is it? Do I have any interest? Your booth has to nail that. It has to nail all 3 of those. Number 4, who are you? You know, who is the company? Make sure that your placement of your company logo is not down on the floor. You typically, people read left to right, so you typically want to have it top left of your booth. Then you want to have your hook or your call out copy, right? If you're doing any rigging on signing, make sure your top tier sign says who and what also, okay? Enter, this is a big one. A lot of you in these inline booths are throwing tables across the front of your booth, and you're forcing the attendee to stand out in the aisle. That's a mistake, okay? Now, I want you to think about it, okay? Think about it this way. If you were, let's say you were like renting space in a shopping mall. You're renting space at a show, right? And you have a window display, right? And you lock the doors to your business. People, if they walk by and look, they can't enter. Are you going to make any sales? You're not. You're going to be out of business in about 2 months, right? So, and here's the second thing. There's a psychological shift that happens when a person crosses a carpet line and enters into a space. They are moving from the neutral zone, which is the aisle, to the engagement zone, which is your space. So open that booth up, right? Make it easy to enter, okay? Do not block entrance to your booth. Do not put a barrier between you and the person you're talking to, okay? And number 6, do something fast, fun, novel, interactive, immersive, learning-based, experiential, something to do. Okay, so I'm going to give you a challenge right now, okay? Look at these 6 factors. And top of the mind, if you had to score your booth right now, if you had to score it on these 6 factors on a 1 to 5, 5, very effective, 1, ineffective, how would you score your booth? In fact, I want you to do that when you get off this webinar, because that is how you're going to figure out what area of your booth you need to tweak to improve your what? Attraction and your engagement. 5 is effective, 1 is ineffective. Any area that scores below a 4, that is your limiting factor. That will be the reason why you don't get enough of the right people to your booth at the show. And here's the thing. Okay, we're sitting here, what, 3 months out from showtime? It doesn't have to end up that way. Only by choice. If you're watching this webinar right now, only by choice. If you go, oh, I'm just going to do the same thing. Now, if you were thrilled with what you got at the last show, keep on keeping on, right? But if you're going, we want more. We want more and better traffic. We want deeper and longer and more meaningful engagement. You're right here, 3 months. You have the perfect time slot to take some time this summer and make the improvements. I'm going to say it again because I've seen it a million times. Sometimes 1 or 2 little shifts in a booth can make all the difference in the world. That's what we want for you. That's why we're doing this. We want you to do this for yourself. We want you to do this for the dental professionals, and we want you to do it for the industry and the association. Everybody wins when somebody exhibits well. Be that somebody, right? It's a show. Put on a show. Show up, show out, right? That's what we're talking about here. All right, so let me take you on a pictorial journey. I think maybe one of the best ways to explain these things is just a picture is worth 1,000 words. So let's roll. Job 1, make them look. What causes people to look at a booth? I'll give you some high points. Color, large swatches of color, especially bright, bold, and unique colors. And color has meaning too. If you want to do some fun research, take a look at what the different colors, the different energetic states, and the different meanings around color. Color it is an attractor. Lighting. People are like bugs. They're attracted to lights. Fastest way to get a booth notice is to light it up, whether it is backlighting of the entire exhibit, whether it is edge lighting of the logo, like in this example, whether it is accent lighting along the properties, light it up, okay? Light it up. Number 3, props, or what I like to call a hero element in the booth. A hero element is some fixture in the booth that is an attractor. So look at this example here. Okay, they've got this purple, they've got this display counter, and they've got this purple, it kind of looks like a lily, like a flower, huh? And they're also using color lighting and the hero element. Okay, so a hero element in the booth. Next, flooring, carpeting. Very few exhibitors think about how to use flooring and carpeting. I'm telling you, flooring and carpeting can really make a booth pop and draw eyes. Bright colors, unique geometrical patterns, even branding into the flooring, okay? And some of you, you're in small booths, right? You're in 10 by 10, 10 by 20s. Today, you can, rather than rent the carpet, you can buy your own foam flooring, snaps together, cushioned, and you can brand it. You can do imagery on it. You can do messaging on it. And in many cases, it costs less than the carpet rental, right? Flooring, okay? Next, audiovisual, AV, well-placed, large. And notice this little circle here, new, NEW. Remember what we said about new? And they're also using a little hero element here, the balloons, the color. Actually, they're kind of pulling out all the stops here. Color, lighting, imagery, AV, calling out a new product. There you go. You know what else can make a big difference in getting people to look at your booth? Your booth staff. Unique apparel, colorful apparel. Booth staffers who are standing up, smiling, looking like they're here to talk to people, greeting people. All of that can make a difference. So here's my first question for you. How are you currently drawing eyes, and what can you change to get more eyes on your booth? That's the challenge, okay? What do? Captain Obvious. 2 words, write it down, Captain Obvious. Dental staffing made easy. Do dental practices have staffing problems? You bet. Every business does. You make it easy. I'm having a staffing problem. I want to know. Full arch answer for the savvy. Play to my ego a little bit here. The savvy. Yeah. Am I savvy or unsavvy? I think I'm savvy. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, this full arch answer is what? NEW. It's new. And notice where they put the new, right up in the corner. Okay. Better implants by design. I do implants. What makes yours better? I want to know, right? Captain Obvious. Make sure you nail the what you do. Okay. Now, this is the one that people struggle with the most, the third element. Why should I care? So I'll give you some examples. Okay, quit monkeying around with paper claim attachments and check out the little blow up monkey and look at the apparel. Okay, you're going to notice that booth, especially if you have any issues with paper claim attachments. Save money. There's two things people want to do with money. They want to make more and they want to save it. If you can help them make it or save it, call it out. Okay, and this is good, but it could be more precise. Trident Dental customers save on average 40% on this or that. Like Geico. Geico has become $1 billion company by saying what? 15% in 15 minutes, right? Same idea, right? Whiteboard marketing here. Fill your schedule. What's one thing dentists hate the most? Gaps in scheduling. Customers that don't show up. Okay. Check this one out. Now, there's something else going on number 4 here. Let me flash this one. Questions. The human brain has a hard time resisting a question, especially when it's relevant. Is your Steri-Center up to SciCan specs? That creates some cognitive dissonance in their mind. Are we up to standards? Specs? I don't know. What are the specs? Let's find out. There you go, right? Great hook. Questions. Jot that down. Questions. Crowbar to the mind. Questions. High quality intraoral images at a low cost. Real clear value prop. Never sharpen again. Look at this one. We'll do it for you free for life. You want to talk about a value prop? If you have a choice of buying instruments, hand instruments from supplier A, who just sells you the instruments and then you have to pay to get them sharpened, or you can buy them from Nordent, supplier B, and free sharpening is included. Who are you going to buy from? You know who you're going to buy from. Why? Man, that's a crystal clear value proposition. So here's your challenge. I want you to look at your booth. What's causing it to grab attention? Is it Captain Obvious what we do? Do I have a crystal clear value proposition, a reason why that attendee should stop and engage? Of all the messages, I think this is the most important one. They're all important, but that is the one you got to nail. Okay. And that's what we're going to look for when we're walking in for Best of Show. We're going to be looking. When I talk visual communication, we're going to be looking for this. Okay. All right. Next, let's go jump to number 6, do. Okay. Let me give you a quote, one of my favorite quotes. And I heard this so many years ago, and I just love this quote. It's from Confucius. Confucius said, I hear and I think. He said, I see and I remember. He said, I do and I know. I hear and I think, I see and I remember, I do and I know. That's what I'm talking about. Confucius said it better than I could ever say it. A full sensory immersion visitor experience. Hands-on, minds-on, interactive immersion. Key phrase, interactive dramatically outperforms static every time. In fact, if you were to ask in fact, the CEIR, the Center for Exhibition Industry Research, researched 15,000 attendees. The number one way that attendees want to interact with an exhibit is through some form of a demonstration or presentation. Number one way the attendees want to interact. Okay, so you've got some options here. Okay, on the physical side, where this is a product demo, scale models, games, and I'm not talking about Plinko and putt the golf thing. Being more thoughtful about how you deploy games. Interactive whiteboards where attendees are engaging and sharing content. Surveys, sometimes tactile. Sliders where they move and they do stuff. Doors to open, things to touch, right? Then you've got digital. Okay, this is where they're using some form of a technology to engage. It might be a flat panel with a video. By the way, if you do flat panel videos, make sure to have a title, Keep it short and make sure to have large captions. Okay. Tablets, maybe you're using iPads, whether you're handheld or they're mounted on a stand. Touchscreens, interactive touchscreens. Motion sensing. There's technology today that will pick up on motion and make things happen. Virtual reality, wearing a headset. Augmented reality, viewing something through a tablet or a phone. A lot of different things you can do. Okay. So let me give you some examples here right out of the gate. The whiteboard. Okay. Here's an example. And you know what's the best thing to do? They've got right here, Compton, and this was at last year's show. Put a question up there. What is the most challenging thing that you face in your practice? What are you most excited about? Whatever, some form of a question that gets people to share, typically Post-its, write on it. You know what else this is for you if you do this right? Incredible market research. If you get 20, 30, 50 people that post something, you might find your hook. You might find directly from them what their pain points are, right? So interactive whiteboards, post it or even doodling on it, right? When you have a demo, let people know that they can do something, call it out. Hey, look, touch me. It's a demo here. Look, interact with this. I've seen great product staging and there's no call to action in the staff and people don't know that they're supposed to engage with it. Call to action signage. This is a trend I'm seeing, which is pretty cool. Sliders. Look at this, where there's information, there's a storyboard. Your small booth has a storyboard. The attendee is learning by moving, sliding things, right? Okay, top right, the demo. Now check this out. This is a company that protects keyboards. Prove your claim through your demo. Look at this. Waterproof, what is she doing? Pouring a bottle of water over the keyboard. That's going to attract your attention. And it's also doing what? Proving the claim. Okay. Bottom left, instruments. What this company did is subtle but very effective. Product staging. Don't just throw your stuff out on the table and they fish through to find it. Stage it elegantly. They organized their instruments into categories. They had a small video. Check out, if you're seeing my thing, they had a little video and they had the instruments raised so it was easy to get to. So they had categories and they had a video and the access and the staging was elegant. And over on the right, again, another product demo. Okay. So how are you going to create physical engagement with your product services? Okay. Next, digital. Let's talk about digital. Okay. Digital might be something as simple as a large flat panel. The bigger, the better. Sometimes I see small booths and they'll put like a little tablet and they'll put it on the table. No one sees it, right? They're not going to see it. Okay, and notice captions on here too. Do not run silent movies. Now, this one also had, notice the touch screens in front of it, where you could touch those screens and get personalized content, learn about what you want to learn. And not only would you be learning it there, but it shows up on the video. Okay. Tablets. Gamification. I'm going to show you how I used a game in a moment. Look, and when you do tablets, clear call to action. Look, stay, play, learn, and win. Take the dog park challenge, right? Fast, fun, novel. Get out of all the scientific part of it, but it ties into your product services, okay? Sliders. Look at this display. This is a little more investment to be sure, but you're engaging with content by grabbing the slider and you're moving it back and forth and you're learning. Same company who had multi-sensory color buttons, tap color buttons to engage with the content, right? Physical, mental, tactile engagement, okay? Gamification, right? This is a video game called Whack-A-Bacteria, and there's companies that do this. You can rent these, right? But before you played the game, you had to put in your first, last email, and you had to answer 5 questions, and then you got to play this game, and there was a leaderboard. Whoever scored it the highest on the leaderboard at the end of the day came back to the booth and got a prize. Okay. Touchscreen, interactive touchscreen, right? Look, play, touch, there you go. Augmented reality is where you have items around the booth, and when you put a tablet camera in front of it, things happen, it comes to life. Augmented reality. So digital engagement, so much cool stuff you could do here. And I'm going to tell you point blank, in the dental industry, not a lot of dental people are doing this, exhibitors. If you can be the first one to crack the code on getting good technology into your booth, you're going to stand out from the crowd. You're going to create maximum impact. You're going to create memorability. So what do they say? Jump the shark here. Jump the shark. Get ahead of this, right? All right. Final point, and then I'll open for Q&A. Okay. Many of you, like me, when you exhibit, you don't have a physical product, right? I think it's easier when you have a product, right? Because you can think about how to stage it, how to display it, how to get them to interact with it, and how to message around it. But when you have a service, it requires, you got to put a little more thought, a little more creativity into it, okay? So start with, again, it always comes back to what are the problems, the challenges that your customers face, and see if you can't find an overriding theme or a message around it. And I'll show you this in a moment, okay? And then integrate some form of digital, right? Whether it's touchscreens, kiosks, tablets, or brief videos. Games, gamification. It's called gamification, to engage and educate. Case studies, visual client testimonials, white papers, best practices, industry intelligence reports, checklists, all valuable stuff for service providers. So let me give you my example. Like you, when I exhibit a service, I have to really pull out all the stops. So my target customer was show producers. Now I'm going to walk you through this in this closing part here, and you may want to just begin to put your mind to the flow. Who is your target customer? My target here was show producers. I was exhibiting at Expo, their show. My theme was knowledge is power. The power to get, keep, and grow exhibitors. Okay, I used a two-piece backlit exhibit. These things have come way down in price. They're amazingly affordable, right? And I thought about what image would instantly resonate with my audience. And I thought, you know what they want? That's in the exhibit floor plan. They want a sold out show. Get them, keep them, grow them. Sold out show. Okay. Now, lighting, right? AV, open, easy to enter. I didn't even have a table in the booth. No chairs, no nothing. Backdrop, two kiosks, 2 iPads with my 60-second exhibitor challenge. How well do you know your exhibitors? So what I did was I had a game where there was 10 questions. How many of these can you get right in 60 seconds? Okay. People played the game. The answers, there was a leaderboard that would post on this flat panel at various times during the day. Play the game, get on the leaderboard, come back at the end of the day, top of the leaderboard, win something. 60-second exhibitor challenge. And I just had questions about what percentage of exhibitors do not come back? What is the top reason why exhibitors don't return? Which award did Competitive Edge win for its, all kinds of messaging like that. Situational fun facts, company branding statements. Turn it into a game, fast, fun novel, okay? This show, within 45 days of closing time, I had a 5-time return on investment on this show. 5 times. People were wanting to come back and play the game multiple times to raise their score. I said, you can only play once a day. If you want to play again, you got to come back tomorrow. Okay. So we've covered a lot of ground here. So I'm going to close. We're getting near the buzzer. I want you to watch this replay with your team. I want you to get a picture of your booth out. I want you to run it through the 6 great booth in 6 words. I want you to find at least one, ideally more, but I want you to find at least one thing you can do to get more people to look at your booth. Work on that hook, that value proposition. Make it easy to enter, and especially work on how are you going to get them to hear it, see it, do it. Hear it, see it, do it, talk about it. That's the name of the game. Okay, I'm at the top of the hour. I'm going to take a look at the question queue. While I do, I'm going to bring Suzanne back for any additional thoughts or closing comments as we wind down.
Thank you, Jefferson. Thanks for going through everything with us. Thanks for highlighting what we can, what our exhibitors can expect on the floor, and especially the tidbits and the ROI on the information. And again, as a reminder, you do have the exhibitor profile and information on our website that's open to you all year long. And really appreciate your time, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so a couple questions, Suzanne. There's one of them has to do with CE. You said there will be free E. Is that for visitors or is it for exhibitors?
So the CE courses that we're doing on the floor is for our registrants, our attendees. They're designed for dentists and staff, and there's 7 over the 3-day or the 2-day period.
Okay.
And 7. They're free with registration.
Okay. And then going forward, if an exhibitor wanted to be considered for that, how would they engage with you?
So we selected those from people that had already signed up earlier in the spring. I think like March 16th was the deadline to put your name in for consideration for this year. And we had another opportunity too with our preventative roundtable breakfast that we do for dental hygienists. And that deadline I think was in May. So Amy sends all that information out. It's on the website. And anyone that wants to participate followed those deadlines and those rules, and our annual session committee selected them. We plan to do the same thing next year, so we'll make sure that we'll get that information out there, but it's all set for this year.
Yeah, I would figure it is. But yeah, so remember that if you want to do education, and certainly beyond the booth, yeah, anytime you can provide formal, especially CE education, it's priceless. It can't be a sales pitch. It's got to be purely educational. But anytime you can do that, that is really going to extend the power of your exhibit program. Let me see. So the next question is in my wheelhouse. It's expensive to exhibit. How much should we be investing, and how do we find money to improve our booth? Okay, let's talk about that. The budgeting rule of thumb for a single trade show starting point is take your floor space rental cost and multiply it by 3. Okay, so if you were $2,000 into your space, your budget's going to be around 6. But if you're going to add new elements to your exhibit, which I encourage you to, because you can easily stand out in this show and take over the floor, go floor space times 5, and then amortize the investment in your improved exhibit properties over a series of shows. Okay, floor space times 5, so you have more money to do it, right? And then amortize the investment, because you're gonna, like, if you nail your booth, you're gonna be using it for multiple shows. If you come up with a great visitor experience, you're gonna use it for other shows also. Okay, and don't be afraid to make the investment, because I think in this show, I call the ODA an intimate show. It's not a big exhibit hall in the scheme of things, right? And it's so easy to stand out in this show, and it's so easy. Honestly, it would be so easy to come in and take this show over and be the exhibitor that everybody talks about. In this show, it's absolutely possible. Next question. You went over a bunch of different technology things. Where can I learn about these things? Well, the best source to find this would go to Exhibitor Online, exhibitoronline.net, and they have a resource guide. And they list, exhibit industry suppliers by category. You can find anything you're looking for there. Exhibitoronline.net resource guide, right? So that would be a good one. Let me see, what else? That's all I'm seeing for now with questions. So let me say this. Do mark your calendar for August 17th, because we're going to get into how to get into mine and on the agenda of people before you get there. So you get that attraction. Be sure to complete the post-show survey. Give us feedback on today's webinar. It looks like pretty much everyone has stayed on wire to wire. And finally, be sure to spend time on the Success and ROI Center. It's your one-page MBA in exhibiting. It's all free. It's all part of your package. The opportunity is set for you. Okay, you've got 3 months till go time. What you do over these next 3 months is going to determine whether you walk off that show floor celebrating and partying or struggling and pondering. We want you celebrating and partying. I know it's there for the taking, but you got to put in the work. If any of you have want to talk about your exhibit strategy directly with me, feel free to email me at jefferson@tradeshowturnaround.com. I'm happy to set up a discovery meeting with you, take a look at what you're thinking, give you feedback. I am lightning quick on being able to see. I'm outside of your forest. I can see your trees. And given that I've evaluated 45,000 booths, I've helped hundreds of companies pull combined over $800 million out of shows, including several in the dental industry. I can help you get there. So feel free to reach out to me. So on behalf of Suzanne and Amy and the incredible team at ODA and Jefferson and my team here at Competitive Edge, I want to thank you for investing an hour of your time. Remember, it's not what you heard, it's what you do. Get off this webinar, take advantage of these next 3 months, show up, show out. I want to give you the Best of Show award. Come get it. All right. Thanks, everybody. I've enjoyed being with you today. To be continued at our next webinar.